The shocking untold story of Enoch, the prophet who vanished into the heavens. Few knew what truly happened that night under the watchful gaze of a silent sky. Enoch walked among shadows. A prophet, yet an enigma. Some said he spoke with angels, others whispered he communed with the divine in ways never seen. His disappearance a tale echoed through the ages, shrouded in mystery. The people of the ancient world, caught in the grip of dread and wonder, felt the shift in the air. It crackled with something unfathomable, something sacred. In the heart of distant Mesopotamia, civilizations thrived and fell. Enoch, a man among men, stood apart. His days were filled with ordinary tasks, yet his nights danced with the supernatural. There were moments when he gazed into the abyss of the cosmos. A deep yearning burned in his chest. What lay beyond the stars? What secrets lingered in the darkness? He had a glimpse of them, flashes of glory that seized his soul and threatened to consume him. His dilemmas were profound. How could he carry the weight of such knowledge and remain among mortals? The whispers grew louder. Some saw him as a madman, others believed he could unlock heaven's secrets. "Begone," they murmured, "dare not tread where angels fear." Yet Enoch pressed on, determined to unveil the truths cloaked in light and shadow. Each prayer, a step toward something divine or damnation, miracles unfolded at his feet. The earth trembled as he prayed for rain, and suddenly, drops began to fall, heavy and rich, quenching the parched land. The people gasped, their faces a blend of awe and disbelief. He walked through the town like a ghost, touching hearts while fear clung to his every word. "What will become of you, Enoch?" a child asked, eyes wide as saucers. The unanswered question dangled in the air like a mist, thick and suffocating. As the tension mounted, a chilling night approached. The moon hung low, dripping silver light onto the earth. Enoch felt an urgent pull, as if the heavens called out, beckoning him home. Then, without a sound, he vanished. One heartbeat, he was there; the next, nothing but an echo in the darkness. Shock rippled through the community. Murmurs filled the air, confusion, disbelief, reverence. Had he been taken, or had he walked away into another realm? His absence carved a void in the hearts of many. Questions sparked like wildfire. What spiritual threshold had he crossed? What awaited beyond the veil of the mortal world? As they desperately searched for answers, the truth hung tantalizingly close, yet far enough to evade their grasp. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. In the days after Enoch's mysterious disappearance, the land felt different. The once vibrant chatter of the townsfolk had dimmed into cautious whispers. Children no longer laughed in the twilight, they clustered in doorways, eyes turned skyward, searching for a figure who had been their protector and guide. The echoes of his prophecies lingered like the distant sound of thunder, leaving an uneasy promise of what was to come. As the sun set, casting long shadows over the hills, the elders gathered by the ancient oak, a tree that had witnessed the rise and fall of many leaders and prophets. They murmured among themselves, recalling the signs Enoch had shown them, the miracles that had defied their understanding. They spoke of the rain that bloomed life into the barren fields, of his words that cut through the noise of the mundane, like a sword of truth piercing their veils of doubt. Yet, alongside the reverence, there bubbled a cauldron of fear and uncertainty. "Where has he gone?" one elder asked, his voice trembling like the leaves above. "Has he ascended to the heavens, or has he been taken to face judgment for secrets too great for man?" Another elder, wise with age but weighed down by sorrow, replied, "The heavens have their ways. Yet we are left, shrouded in ignorance. Should we not seek the reason behind his departure? Perhaps he left us a clue, a sign hidden within the solitude of his last moments." Thus, They resolved to honor Enoch's memory not with despair but with diligence. They would delve into the rituals he performed, the words he spoke, the sacred texts that hinted at the mysteries he sought to unveil. Candlelight flickered as they pored over scrolls previously untouched, seeking hidden insights, invisible threads that might connect them to him. On the outskirts of the village, a woman named Selah felt the void more acutely than others. Enoch had appeared to her in dreams, sparking visions of celestial landscapes and whispered messages from beyond. Restless at night, she wandered into the fields where he once prayed, feeling the presence of his vanished spirit. In the silvery glow of the moonlight, she sensed a gentle wind calling her to listen, not just with her ears but with her heart. One night, as she knelt beneath the stars, eyes closed in fervent prayer, she felt a vibration beneath her, an energy as if the ground itself were alive with his essence. "Enoch," she whispered, daring to speak his name, "reveal to me your path. What must we understand about your journey? What must we embrace in your absence?" In that moment, an image flashed before her, a staircase of light, ascending into an infinite sky, woven with threads of gold and silver. It beckoned her, yet the deeper she looked, shadows whispered doubts to her spirit. Was this merely a dream spun by her longing, or a glimpse into the sacred connection Enoch had forged? As she rose from the earth, her heart beat with the weight of the unanswered. Could it be that Enoch had not simply vanished, but transcended to show others the way? Or was his disappearance the herald of a much darker prophecy, one that demanded their attention and awareness? In the hearts of those left behind, a question remained, hovering like a distant star. What truths about themselves were they yet to discover? What divine mysteries would unfold if they dared to step beyond the veil of their understanding like Enoch, who had faced the heavenly call? As they pondered these things, the heavens sighed softly, cloaked in silence, waiting for them to seek the answers buried deep within. In the days that followed, a restless spirit swept through the village, igniting a fervor among the people as they yearned for the wisdom that Enoch had imparted. Each evening, families gathered around flickering fires, sharing tales not just of the prophet's deeds, but of the moments when they had felt his presence, as if he still walked amongst them. These stories wove a tapestry of hope, holding them steadfast against the shadows of uncertainty. One fateful night, Selah returned to the fields where she often sensed the remnants of Enoch's spirit. As she sat in silence, a flicker of movement caught her eye in the shadows. Curiosity compelled her to rise and follow it, her heart racing as she trailed the glimmering light, a beacon in the darkness that whispered of uncharted realms. Her journey led her to a hidden grove, ensconced by ancient trees whose gnarled branches formed a protective embrace. In the center lay a stone altar, worn smooth by time, its surface glistening in the moonlight. There, Selah knelt, feeling a palpable energy pulse through her being, as though the very air around her was alive with the presence of the divine. With trembling hands, she reached out to touch the altar, and as her fingers met the cool stone, a vision surged through her mind. She saw Enoch once again, standing atop the staircase of light, his face illuminated by a radiance that knew neither shadow nor fear. He turned to her, his eyes filled with compassion, and in that moment, Selah understood a fragment of his purpose. He was not just a prophet, but a guide who had transcended to prepare a path before them. "Seek the knowledge that ignites your spirit," Enoch's image seemed to say. "Unravel the mysteries that lie within your hearts. For each soul carries a fragment of the divine, a spark waiting to reignite in the face of uncertainty." Suddenly, the vision shifted, and Selah found herself standing at the threshold of the earthly and the celestial, a realm where time melded and the voices of those who had walked before her filled the air. She could hear faint whispers, words of wisdom born from trials, struggles, and triumphs. Each voice spoke of sacrifice, love, and the ever-present invitation to rise above the mundane. Awakening from the vision, she gasped, the weight of understanding settling deep within her. The elders, the villagers, and even the children were intertwined with Enoch's legacy, each woven into the narrative that had begun long before his ascension. They were called to awaken their own truths, to embark on a journey of self-discovery that went beyond lamenting his absence. Selah hurried back to the village, her heart aflame with urgency. "We must gather," she cried as she approached the elders, their faces etched with lines of concern and doubt. "Enoch has shown me he did not leave us in silence. We are to seek our own paths, to understand the potential he awakened within us, The elders exchanged glances, intrigued yet hesitant. One elder stepped forward, his brow furrowed with thought. Do you mean to say that our journey is intertwined with the divine fate of our people? That Enoch's departure was but a catalyst for something greater? Yes. Selah urged. His legacy endures in each of us. We must not confine his teachings to merely memories, but cultivate the truths we each carry in our hearts. Encouraged by her fervor, they convened a gathering at the ancient oak, calling forth the village to listen. Neighbors shared their dreams, visions, and revelations, piece by piece contributing to a greater understanding of the collective spirit ignited by Enoch. The air buzzed with an electric promise, weaving bonds of anticipation among those who had long mourned. Yet, amidst the growing excitement, Selah felt a stirring of unease. Why had Enoch chosen her for such profound understanding? What role lay ahead for her within this awakening? As the evening deepened, she looked up at the myriad stars twinkling above, and a question broke free from her lips, hovering in the space between the villagers gathered around her. What if Enoch's greatest lesson is not merely to seek the divine in the sky, but to discover the divine within ourselves, waiting, as he did, for the moment when we dare to rise to our own calling? And as they contemplated this newfound truth, shadows danced across the horizon, a gentle reminder that the journey of understanding was just beginning, and the mysteries of Enoch's legacy had not yet fully revealed themselves. In the soft glow of the flickering flames, the villagers gathered beneath the ancient oak, hearts beating in cadence with a newfound urgency. Selah stood at the forefront, her voice now a steady beacon woven with determination and fervor. As they shared their individual revelations, a tapestry of understanding began to unfurl, one that promised both allure and uncertainty. An elder named Zimri, his gray beard swaying with every earnest word, spoke of a dream he had last shared. I walked with Enoch in the fields, where he taught me to listen to the whispers of creation around us. The villagers leaned in closer, captivated, as he spoke of the symphonies hidden in the rustle of leaves and the songs carried on the wind, urging them all to commune with the world beyond mere sight. I too have felt his whisper in the rustling grass, a young mother, Kolia, added timidly. In moments of chaos, when my heart raced, something inside me calmed as if guiding me to a hidden truth. The gathering murmured, recognizing the universal experiences that had shaped their lives under Enoch's shadow. As the tales flowed like a river, Selah felt the weight of responsibility pressing upon her shoulders. For the first time, the villagers were not only remembering Enoch but were reaching for the understanding he had kindled within them. The final thread of her vision was interwoven into the fabric of their discussion, and she pondered if she would help them embrace it fully. But as voices lifted in harmony and excitement crackled through the air, Selah's gaze drifted to the outer edges of the gathering, where shadows lingered just beyond the glow of the firelight. A sense of foreboding seeped into her heart. What lay beyond their collective understanding? The harmony they felt in that moment contrasted sharply with the uncertainty that loomed outside their newly unified purpose. Let this not be merely a gathering of tales, but a forging of purpose, Selah proclaimed, feeling that her next words bore the weight of divine importance. If Enoch is indeed alive through our words and actions, then we must awaken our own courage to step into his legacy. We must live as he taught us, seekers of truth, servants of love. As the villagers nodded in agreement, a ripple of energy coursed through the crowd. Together, they pledged to explore their own divine sparks, to seek the knowledge buried deep within each soul. Yet, as they made this promise, Selah's heart thudded with an unshakable question, one she could not voice aloud. Was it enough to simply embrace the call, or were they also to confront the shadows that whispered of conflict, uncertainty, and perhaps even fear? Each pledge marked a birth into a new realm of understanding, but what other truths remained dormant, waiting to be unearthed? What trials lay ahead, and how would they respond to the challenges of walking in the footsteps of a prophet? The mysteries of Enoch's legacy seemed to intertwine with the very fabric of their lives in ways they could not yet comprehend. With moonlight spilling over the gathering, illuminating the faces of those with shaken faith and rekindled hope, Selah found herself lost in thought. She pondered deeply, as we take steps into this unknown path, how do we hold on to the light when shadows threaten to ensnare us? How do we ensure that our journey, like Enoch's, leads not to silence but to a deeper awakening? And with that question echoing in her heart, the gathering paused, contemplating the weight of their newfound journey and the mysteries that lay intertwined beneath the luminescent stars, waiting to unfold. As the night deepened, a cool breeze swept through the gathered villagers, sending a ripple of quietude through the assembly. Selah stood still, feeling the air heavy with expectation and the unspoken events that lingered just beyond reach. The villagers, now bonded by their shared revelations, were filled with a shimmering hope, but Selah sensed something lurking beneath the surface, a tension woven through their stories like a hidden thread. Let us not forget, Simri's voice arose again, this time more somber, that Enoch did not merely walk in the light. He navigated shadows that threatened to envelop him. His ascent was not without sacrifice or challenge. A silence fell as the truth of Simri's words sank into the collective heart of the group. Selah's thoughts spun. What could it mean for them to embrace Enoch's legacy? To not only seek truth, but also to face the very adversities that had once shaped him. Her heart recalled the stories of old trials faced by prophets and the tests of faith that even the strongest had to endure. Those tales spoke of struggle, of moments when clarity was a distant flicker, obscured by the veils of doubt. A soft voice broke the stillness. It belonged to Kolia. Sometimes it feels as if the shadows listen, watching our every step. As much as I wish to be a seeker of love, the fear of failing to embody it weighs heavy. Muffled murmurs of agreement flitted through the crowd. Selah felt a surge of compassion for Kolia and others who shared her apprehensions. We often mistake these shadows for our weakest moments, Selah addressed the villagers. But what if they are not our enemies, but our teachers? The flicker of the flames echoed their thoughts, speaking in wisdom that transcended words. What if the shadows carried the secrets of their growth, beckoning them to acknowledge the parts of themselves that were still yearning for light? Enoch's journey was marked by his grappling with the divine, a conversation even clad in chaos. In our very struggles, Selah continued, emboldened by her own emerging insights, we might hold the key to understanding Enoch's wisdom. We must lean into both our gifts and our fears. The villagers leaned closer to one another, a palpable curiosity enveloping them as they began to muse over their own struggles and shadows, the doubts that lived within, the failures that haunted their hearts, the collective unrest that simmered gently just below the surface. Each shadow we encounter may very well lead us to the light, Selah added, her heart beating in rhythm with collective awareness. The deeper we traverse our fears, the clearer the path of understanding becomes. Yet, as the embers of hope brightened in their hearts, a fleeting thought danced through Selah's mind, stirring shadows of its own. If they embraced their shadows, would they be prepared for what unfolded? What revelations awaited them from the depths of unacknowledged fears? And would the acceptance of these truths lead to greater unity or deeper division among them? The flame's brightness flickered once again, and for a fleeting moment, Selah caught sight of the flicker of the unknown at the edges of the gathering, a reminder that the journey inward always holds potential for disruption even amid harmony. As Selah concluded her words, the villagers sat in contemplative silence, the warmth of connection wrapping around them like a blanket. Her heart continued to flutter with unanswered questions. In our quest to embody Enoch's legacy, how do we prepare ourselves for the revelations that may arise from our shadows? Will understanding our fears empower us, or will it lead to deeper rifts in our newfound unity? The heavens watched silently, awaiting their responses, while the gathering felt the weight of their intertwined destinies, hovering delicately between fear and illumination, each heartbeat echoing the mystery still left to unfold. As the moon hung low, illuminating the village with an ethereal glow, Selah sensed the air shift once more. The murmurs faded, allowing for a deeper introspection. Shadows played tricks under the flickering light of the fire, creating shapes that seemed to dance around the edges of their circle, a tangible representation of their unspoken emotions. It was within this soft-lit space that the village began to confront a profound truth. The light they sought was intimately tied to their understanding of darkness. Do you recall the story of the river that divides the land? Simri spoke again, this time with the weight of a distant memory. The elders used to tell of a time when that river overflowed, wetting the soil and bringing forth both destruction and renewal. For our lives are much the same, what we often see as obstacles may very well be the faucets of our rebirth. Selah pondered this, recognizing the duality among them that reflected their struggles. The river's flood represented chaos, Yet it also brought fresh life and fertile soil for new beginnings. Was it possible that their fears and trials could wash away the outdated beliefs they clung to like life rafts in a storm? As the villagers nodded and shared their reflections, Kolia brought forth another layer of complexity. What if we are not merely observers in this cycle but active participants? If shadows hold insights, how do we become brave enough to confront them? Her question floated into the night, hanging heavy yet hopeful in the stillness. In a moment of revelation, Selah felt compelled to share a secret that had long rooted itself deep within her heart. In dreams, I have encountered the figure of Enoch. He speaks to me in fragments, glimmers of wisdom amidst his silence, she confessed, her voice quaking with vulnerability. But these visions are always shrouded in uncertainty. Each dream leaves me questioning whether Enoch's journey is meant to guide us, or to reveal the truths we may not wish to see. The villagers listened intently, inspired by Selah's openness. They leaned forward, captivated by the mysteries that dance between their hearts and the tales of their ancestors. What do you hear him say? Simri gently pressed, his gaze steady and curious. Selah paused, reflecting on the dreams that felt both intimate and vast. He speaks of unity, of a path that binds light and shadow together. Enoch has shown me moments of despair transformed into faith, moments when the unseen revealed profound clarity. But he also warned me of the dangers of delusion and denial, the silence that follows unacknowledged truths. As she spoke, the surrounding air thickened, swirling with a current that was both electrifying and unsettling. The villagers shifted, caught in the tide of her revelation. Had they been wearing blindfolds all this time, avoiding the very truths that Enoch whispered into her heart during those enigmatic dreams? Perhaps, Selah ventured softly, we must venture into the river's depths not merely to predict our fate, but to embrace the turbulence of faith and doubt. To risk the joy that comes from truly confronting who we are beneath the daylight. The questions lingered, filling the space with a tension that neither the fire nor the stars could dispel. Selah couldn't help but wonder what it meant for Enoch to vanish into the heavens. Was it a reward for his journey, or an invitation to confront all that had yet to be understood on earth? As the night deepened, the villagers collectively sighed, their faces reflecting the shimmering flames, their hearts wrestling with newfound uncertainty. If Enoch's secrets lie beyond our comprehension, what might we discover by embracing our shadows as part of the journey? Selah reflected, her voice barely breaking the silence. In that moment, the fabric of their gathering vibrated with unresolved yearning, echoing the mysteries of their own existences, their shadows yet to unfurl, and their future still undefined. Would confronting these depths bring them together or fragment the bond they sought to strengthen? The questions loomed larger than the stars overhead, inviting each heart to seek answers they had yet to embrace. As dawn's first light began to penetrate the darkness, the villagers gathered again in the wake of last night's profound discussions. The fire had long since cooled, its embers now just a memory of warmth. Selah, feeling an odd blend of anticipation and trepidation, looked to her companions, knowing that the day might reveal truths just as significant as the night. Let us venture to the river, Simri suggested, the idea resonating with the collective spirit. If the waters speak of chaos and renewal, perhaps we can find clarity in their depths. The proposal ignited a spark within them, a twitch of curiosity that eclipsed their night of confessions. They rose in unison, heads held high, ready to explore the physical manifestation of their metaphorical struggles. As they trekked towards the river, the early morning air was fresh, filled with the scent of dew-kissed grass and blooming wildflowers. Each step felt purposeful, unearthing fragments of their intentions that had remained buried within. Beneath this tangible beauty lay the current of their discussions, flowing into the water's embrace. Upon reaching the river bank, they stood in silence. The mighty river stretched wide and deep, its surface reflecting a dance of colors: gold, azure, and shimmering silver. It seemed alive, a vast repository of both secrets and revelations. Selah felt the familiar pull of mystery wash over her as she observed the water, rippling gently as if sighing under the weight of history. What stories have you to tell? She whispered, almost as if hoping the river would respond. The rush of water sounded like laughter, mingling with heartbeats. Kolia stepped forward, peering intently into the flowing stream. Do you see how its surface reflects the sky? She mused. In the depths below lies a world unseen, just as our truths reside beneath layers of fear and uncertainty. What if each ripple is a question from Enoch, echoing the inquiries we've so often avoided? The villagers shared glances, caught in the moment's depth. They each entertained the thought that the river might offer more than just water. It could provide clarity on Enoch's enigma and their own shadows. They began to gather stones from the bank, each one a representation of their struggles. Selah pondered the essence of these simple objects, once part of the earth, now part of their narrative. Let us cast these stones into the river, suggested Simri, as an act of release. May they carry our fears, our doubts, and our unanswered questions into the depths, allowing us the courage to embrace our truths. A weight felt lighter as they held their stones, each one reflecting a fragment of their stories. Selah could almost hear the river beckoning them to let go. With a shared breath, they tossed their stones into the water, each splash a proclamation of their willingness to face their shadows and the unknown. Selah closed her eyes and envisioned Enoch amidst her swirling thoughts. What would he counsel them in this defining moment? In visions past, his presence had always felt ethereal, yet now, with each stone cast away, she felt a connection deepening not merely with Enoch but with the very essence of their humanity. As the water enveloped their stones, Selah noticed a remarkable phenomenon. The surface began to shift and glimmer as if it were revealing a hidden truth. She squinted at the river, hesitant yet transfixed, as shadows seemed to emerge and intertwine within the depths. "Look!" she gasped, pointing at the shifting images dance beneath the waves. "It's as if the river is showing us layers of ourselves, our fears, our hopes, all intertwined." The villagers leaned closer, awestruck by the mysterious manifestation. Each ripple, each shadow, seemed to narrate a silent tale of transformation, hinting at the possibility that the answers to Enoch's wisdom were perhaps hidden in their own reflections. Yet, the revelation brought with it an unsettling question. As the water continued to swirl, Selah felt an urge to probe deeper, to understand what shadows lay beneath the surface both within and around them. What if embracing these revelations ultimately leads us to a path of more profound darkness? She pondered, a sense of unease sinking into her heart. Is confronting our shadows an invitation to explore realms of truth that might threaten the very fabric of who we've always known ourselves to be? The moment hung heavy in the air, as uncertainty intertwined with curiosity. Each villager, although united in their quest for understanding, was left grappling with an unresolved question: were they prepared to confront the depths of their own truths, and what risks might lie therein? As the sun rose higher, the river murmured on, a ceaseless invitation to delve into the mysteries that still awaited them. As the river's serene voice pulsed gently through the air, a palpable tension gripped the villagers. Selah's heart raced as she withdrew her gaze from the shimmering depths, letting the glint of the morning sun illuminate her thoughts. The collective shadows that danced below had stirred something within, a sense of urgency uncoiling. "It is our choice, isn't it?" She spoke aloud, her voice quivering slightly, as though testing the waters of their commitment. To open ourselves to the depths and confront what lies beneath, or to retreat into the comfort of ignorance. Zimri, who had been stoic, finally voiced the struggle that had taken root. "The river does not judge. It simply is." He looked across the river bank, gesturing to the smooth stones that now lay scattered like found treasures. "Why do we fear what we do not know?" Perhaps Enoch, in his wisdom, understood this dance, embracing the unknown as a sacred journey. The group stood in contemplative silence, the rush of water becoming a hymn to their musings. Kolia nudged a stone with her foot, a frown etching her brow. But what if Enoch doesn't merely guide us toward truths that uplift? What if his wisdom also unveils the dangers that we've cloaked beneath layers of familiarity? A chill wind swirled around, causing the river's surface to ripple anew, as if responding to Kolia's apprehension. It felt as though the water held an answer, or perhaps more inquiries veiled beneath its shimmering facade. Selah pondered her own response, aware that they were on the precipice. Each villager was wrestling with a delicate balance between exploration and the intimidation of what awaited. What if, in our quest to uncover Enoch's secrets, we unearthed darker shadows than we imagined? She mused softly, the words escaping like a whispered prayer. The thought loomed large like the mountains surrounding them, casting doubt over even the most resolute of intentions. Zimri stepped closer to the edge, drawn by magnetism to the depths. When Enoch ascended, was it merely a journey to the heavens, or was there an implicit challenge to delve into the void? He seemed to gaze past the flowing water, transcending physical boundaries. Perhaps his disappearance was more profound than mere ascension. What if it was a call to each of us to embrace contradictions, light and dark, knowledge and ignorance? The river responded with a sharp current, a reminder of its ceaseless journey. The air vibrated with unspoken possibilities, but amidst the unfolding discourse, Selah felt an undercurrent pulling at her heart, a yearning to grasp something much larger than mere answers. It suggested that the truths they sought were not to be found in the conclusions of Enoch's story alone, but through the very act of seeking and the courage to embrace all facets of themselves. As time drifted on, they each picked a stone from the bank once more, quieting their minds as they reflected on what it represented: conflict, hope, fear, or freedom. The act of holding the stone was both grounding and illuminating, a small token encapsulating their unresolved narratives. They then formed a circle near the water's edge, their collective presence like threads woven into the fabric of existence. With a deep breath shared among them, they individually voiced their intentions, casting these stones back into the water, not merely as offerings of release, but as affirmations of intent, vacating their fears and weaving together the courage to face whatever lay ahead. But as Selah released her stone into the embrace of the river, a sudden surge rippled through the water, intensifying its shimmer. Shadows retreated momentarily, and the river seemed to unveil a path, a vivid route spiraling back into the earth, a gaping maw of darkness, seemingly beckoning them closer. A grave weight settled upon her heart, a puzzle beckoning with uncertainty. What did the turn of the river's tides mean? Did it signal a choice between following the path into darkness, or was their journey merely beginning, urging them onward to Enoch's elusive truth? As the ripples settled and returned to their eternal dance, each villager stood on the threshold of discovery and dread, each grappling with the persistent question, what must we surrender to uncover the mysteries hidden in the depths of our own hearts? The unexpected path within the river pulsed with an eerie invitation, holding secrets that echoed throughout the stillness. As Selah's heart thrummed like a drum in her chest, she turned to the gathered villagers, searching for reflections of their resolve. Each face bore the imprint of shared contemplation, a tapestry woven from fear and curiosity. Do we dare venture down? Zimri asked, his eyes alight with a flicker of conviction. Or do we stand here, forever wondering what lies beyond the veil? His question hung in the air, pressing against the thoughts of everyone present. Kolia fidgeted with the smooth stone she had cast away moments ago, weighing her fear against the impulse to discover. What if Enoch left us this very challenge? What if he wanted us to grapple with our own doubts, to explore our shadows? She brushed a hand through her hair, contemplating the life that lay beyond their riverbank, once safe and predictable. Selah felt the breath of the river against her as it oscillated between quietude and urgency. Every ripple seemed to echo strands of Enoch's legacy, an enigma birthed from wisdom threaded within uncertainty. But how do we know if our hearts are ready? She whispered, almost to herself. Is not the choice before us steeped in mutual risk? The group shared a silence steeped in shared rhythm, a synchrony of breath, marked by trepidation and hope. Though the river shimmered invitingly, an uncharted heart of darkness pulsed just out of view. The question loomed like shadows behind their intentions. What if the journey led to mere confusion or temptation instead of transcendence? Sometimes it is in darkness that the light reveals itself. Zimri voyaged into the silence, his voice a gentle flame igniting within the collective doubt. What if Enoch's absence teaches us that understanding requires us to navigate through our ghastly fears? Have we not been already walking through uncertain paths? His words rippled outward, igniting flickers of determination in the hearts of his companions. Kolia stepped forward, her brow taut with resolve. Then let us take our steps together. Whatever darkness we face as a collective. With a collective nod, they circled back to the edge of the beckoning river. A united front formed at the bridge between fear and discovery, their murmurs woven with the timbre of the flowing current. They took a collective breath, each inhale an embrace of courage, each exhale a gentle release of trepidation. On the count of 3, we shall step towards the river's depth, Selah declared, her hands sandwiched between the warmth of her companions. For Enoch, for illumination, and for the unknown within us. 1, 2, 3. As they plunged their feet into the water, a miraculous sensation enveloped them, a symphony of cold and warmth, surprise and relinquishment, pressing gently against their ankles as they moved deeper. The shadows beneath their feet began to swirl, guiding them towards the submerged realm. Fish darted past, glittering like quicksilver, leading the group deeper into what felt like an ancient cathedral beneath the water's breadth. To emerge and navigate this underwater darkness felt increasingly surreal. Flashes of reminiscence flickered like glowing embers in the depth. Amidst the shadows, they glimpsed silhouettes, a ladder ascending into brightness, images of figures who seemed familiar and mystical. As they ventured further, the water began to whisper faint echoes of Enoch, tales woven of both triumph and turmoil. A question arose with each murmur, an intonation about the meaning of sacrifice, of blessings intertwined with shadows, of wisdom extended through despair, and then, it hit them all at once, a sudden rush of light above them, illuminating words that seemed to float like threads of hope. To embrace the unknown is to embrace oneself. Selah halted mid-step, the revelation left her breathless. Was this the truth they sought, or just another illusion shimmering amid the depths? In their hesitant pursuit of Enoch's legacy, the villagers now stood at a crucial junction. Was unveiling the hidden navigable, or would the path lead to deeper divisions within themselves and each other? Each heart beat as they hovered at the threshold of revelation, grappling with the nagging thought, what truly lies beneath the surface of our souls waiting to be discovered. As they waded deeper into the river's embrace, the light above gave way to a myriad of colors swirling around them, as if the very essence of creation had converged into this sacred space. Selah felt the current pulse with a life force of its own, guiding her and her companions through unfathomable dimensions, each step a heartbeat resonating with Enoch's teachings that had echoed through the tapestry of their lives. The shadows are not merely obstacles, she murmured, inspired by the unfolding moment. They reveal the light we have yet to perceive within ourselves. In the depths of these waters, where darkness and illumination danced in a delicate balance, Selah realized that Enoch had not vanished from the world. He had woven a legacy that demanded exploration beyond the confines of their understanding. Emboldened by this epiphany, Selah turned to the group, her voice shimmering above the rushing waters. What if embracing our shadows allows the light to shine more brightly? Enoch showed us not just the way to transcend, but to connect, to transform our fears into pathways of understanding. Her words seemed to weave a thread of unity among them, binding their hearts as they grappled with their purpose. Illuminated by the colors swirling around them. Together, we can confront the depths, Kalia replied, determination igniting her eyes. Let us not shy away from the shadows that accompany us, but rather hold them as teachers. Each fear we acknowledge fuels our potential. The others nodded, uncertainty still lingering but softened by the warmth of shared resolve. With resolute hearts, they continued through the surreal landscape. The river unfolded before them, leading to an underground cavern where the light shimmered through an archway woven with the fabric of their ancestors. It pulsed with vitality, revealing murals of countless souls who had traversed journeys of faith, redemption, and discovery, their stories etched in time. The sight filled them with awe. They were not alone. The very spirits of those who had walked before them whispered through the air, echoing sages' thoughts that transcended generations. Enoch's presence flickered among those familiar faces, a guiding force encouraging them to engage with their shadows rather than flee. As they drew nearer to the radiant archway, the river began to slow, its once rapid currents now transforming into gentle ripples, cradling them in a serene embrace. The intertwining lights above seemed to beckon, illuminating the path forward, and as Selah stepped across the threshold, she felt the amalgamation of fear and hope unfurl in her heart. With each breath, a powerful revelation washed over them. The journey inward is the transcendence of the soul. They were not merely seeking enlightenment or escaping their fears, they were being called to embrace the entirety of their selves, the light and the dark interwoven as vital elements of existence. Enoch had ventured into the heavens not to escape, but to remind them of their own divine rights to explore and illuminate. As if sensing their newfound understanding, the archway erupted with luminescent energy, swirling rays shimmering like the sun breaking through a storm. The collective sigh of the villagers ushered forth a deeper moment of clarity. They were more than seekers of truth, they were the catalysts. They could pave the way for others still caught in the shadows of despair. Selah raised her arms, the essence of Enoch's spirit intertwining with her own as she proclaimed, "Let us return to the world not only to share this knowledge but to live it." Each of us carries the spark of the divine, and it is through the unity of our journeys, our struggles and our victories that we create a way forward. The villagers erupted into applause, their hearts quickening with purpose and anticipation. Simri stepped closer, nodding solemnly. "What we discover within ourselves will guide us in nurturing others, for we are all interconnected. Enoch's lessons live on in our narratives. We must be the light, transforming shadows into our sanctuary." The unified spirit surged through the group, a collective current that promised to shatter the old and birth the new. With hearts revived and spirits ignited, they made their way back through the river, each ripple now a pathway of the revelations they would carry into their world. As they ascended from the depths, a final beam of light radiated across the cavern, revealing a spiraling staircase that beckoned them upward. Emerging into the light of a new dawn, the villagers stood hand in hand, their surroundings glimmering with a newfound vibrancy. They were not merely survivors of Enoch's legacy, they were the living embodiment of it. Their hearts beat in synchronous rhythm, an anthem of hope echoing into the ether. In that profound moment, they understood the journey was not simply about searching for Enoch or the wisdom of old, but about igniting the spark of divinity within themselves, a reminder that each soul was born from the same celestial fabric, woven with threads of experience, shadow, and light. As the sun rose higher and they embraced the radiant warmth, Selah raised her voice, resonating through the gathering. "Let us carry forward our legacy not as mere followers, but as torchbearers illuminating the darkness, reminding all we encounter that transformation resides within the depths of every heart. For this is the true essence of our journey." And thus, the village, emboldened by Enoch's spirit, stepped into their lives, ready to embrace their shadows, celebrate their journeys, and illuminate the mysteries of their own souls, each a fragment of the divine, united in the pursuit of understanding that echoed infinitely beyond the horizon. In that powerful revelation, they found closure, strength, and the eternal truth. Light and shadow exist not in opposition, but in a sacred dance, a celestial rhythm guiding every heart home.